I'm Bran, and I love The Way Home.
I'm Ryan, and I like and am emotionally exhausted by The Way Home.
I'm Dan, and I guess I still have to say that I despise The Way Home, and this is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Hello, everybody. We're finally here. I know to those who grits. I know for the people at home listening or watching on Philo, it seems like mere seconds since
ago.
We talked about episode 9. But to us, a whole episode of The Way Home.
It's a game changer, 10 is. It really is. Episode 10 is a game changer. Yeah. We got lots to talk about.
For those of you that are wondering, hey, are you guys going to be talking about Ride? The answer is yes. Mm-hmm. Things got a little wonky because of spring break and your mission trip to Mexico.
That's right.
And so we're doing 2 episodes of The Way Home today here on Wednesday. If you haven't listened to 9, go. That's out right now, so go check that out. But then we'll be back next Wednesday with the same thing, episodes 1 and 2 of Ride next week, a show that I can't imagine is going to be as good as The Way Home. I don't know. I am very, I'm a positive person.
And expectations are through the floor.
I am super positive, and I believe the best in people, and I always hope for the best. But The Way Home has been so good. I just can't imagine, right? And I don't like Western. I don't like things on horses.
All I know is it's better for me to go in with low expectations for a Hallmark show than high ones. So Ride's got that going for it because the expectations are really low. What about you, Ryan? Are you in for Ride? You excited about it?
I would say I've been higher on the previews than you two, but I obviously
the previews because it served me so well with The Way Home, not knowing anything about it. No one gave us any grief about that.
Well, the Ride is actually about time travel as well. I've been
time traveling horses.
Yeah,
actually.
Hey, where do you want to go?
Are you saying the lobsters? Yeah. But no, I've just caught snippets of it to be honest. In between Way Home episodes. But it can't be as good as The Way Home. But what if it is?
What if it is? What if it is?
What if it is? What if it is? Well, I do know this. Episode 2 of Ride premieres on Sunday, and you can watch it on philo.tv/DTH. Let's get to it, everybody. The Way Home, Season 1, Episode 10. Not all who wander are lost.
Ooh. Is that a song title?
I don't know. It originally aired on March 26th, and it went to a little something
it's
like
a song by Lana Del Rey.
Oh, yeah. I know a little something like this. The old 1999 classic. Lana Del Rey. The episodes it kicks off with Alice pulling Kat out of the pond. Elliot is there to comfort her, not because he's a super villain, but because he put the pieces together with a newspaper in episode 9. She and Elliot talk about how she remembers Alice coming to her dad's funeral, and then she never saw her again. So she knows that Alice only has one last time. No, sorry guys, that was last episode. That was
to go in the pond. One
jump left. She's not
going to throw away her shot.
No, she's not going to throw away her shot. So she then has to comfort Alice because Alice feels responsible for the death. Because if I wasn't there, you wouldn't have pushed me out of the way. Maybe he wouldn't have swerved into the steel cage of rocks. So is no one's bad. No one's mad. No one's blaming the telephone company for putting the steel cage. I know I harped on it a lot last episode.
Scot-free.
Scott.
Dude, Scott's back.
He is back.
It's been too long.
He
and Cart have been hanging out.
Dude, carte blanche.
When those two get together,
Dude, it is.
the wheels are off.
They do everything. They do
It is
anything and
absurd.
everything.
Just pay. They
do anything and
They
everything.
literally paint the town red.
Yeah,
Woke up, all of downtown Greenville's red.
they get away with it too. That's the crazy. That's the
unbelievable.
crazy thing.
God, Cart's
disgusting.
the worst.
If you had to spend a day with Cart or Scott,
Scott, yeah, no
Really?
question. Cart's
Really?
annoying, man. Even the voice.
So Brady shows up. You guys remember Brady, Alice's dad?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Cat's former lover.
Episode 1.
He shows up and Alice is like, I just can't deal with him today. I know he came all the way to this country, but I am sad. So
So it's a no for me,
it's
dog.
a no for me, dog. So she goes down, tells Brady, and Brady is like, hey, no problem. Here are the divorce papers you asked for. Dell asked Kat if Byron told her that he was leaving on a sabbatical. She says no. So Byron just deuced out early, and we're supposed to be okay with that. Okay, way home. Okay.
Hey, but he does have head injuries. He's forgotten a lot of things.
Forgotten a lot.
Could still be Jacob, just saying.
Dude, you said that while we were watching this episode, and it
Dan.
about blew my mind.
You can't keep doing this to me, man.
Dude, he has head injuries.
He
Man, I
has
have
head
recovered
injuries.
from the I want to kiss you thing. It's plagued me.
Dude,
said it to Del.
he has head injuries.
Dude, he's forgotten so much.
If
over the years.
if you had multiple concussions and you forgot stuff,
Yeah.
you could potentially hit on your mom and not know it.
Let's move on.
It was when you said it, Dan, blew my mind. Dell asked Kat, Alice is asking her mom about the funeral. They decide that they're going to go to the funeral together, so they leap in together. A family that time travels together stays together. They go to the funeral. Kat obviously hiding behind some shrubs, as she does, looking on, but also crying. So far enough away to not be seen, close enough to hear it, except she is seen by Dell, almost as if there is another woman at the
I called it.
the
job,
other
Dan.
woman. The other
Dan, you're good at
woman.
this.
So she so that's a lot. So she then, and back in present day, is talking to her mom and it's like, hey mom, I know that dad wasn't having an affair, and they agree they're just gonna let that go. Alice decides that she wants to sing at the opening for the reopening at the Roxy, which we all are excited about. The Roxy's back, baby.
Yeah.
Alice tells Kat that they need to go check on Kat. Alice tells Kat she needs to go check on Kat for back then Kat. But Kat is like, you never come back. You never come back. And she's like, I'm going to prove you wrong. But she goes to time travel, but she comes back not in 2000, but just a few months ago. And here's Dell talking about the letter that she wrote, how she's not going to mail it. She throws it in the trash. So Alice goes to pick it out of the trash. And do you remember in episode 1, there was an argument about the letter and who sent the letter?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we know who sent the letter. A little girl named Alice. It's time for the show at the Roxy. Alice sings Colton's song, and Dell is shocked and amazed and shocked some more at the fact that her granddaughter is singing a song that her husband wrote, even though she never met him. She's shocked and amazed.
This could be a fun side plot.
When
maybe.
asked about this,
she
she
could all
says,
click in for her.
well, I got mom
That
just
Alice was the Alice from
the
before?
mom sang it to me when I was a kid.
Many
Oh,
a time.
And I
that's
remember.
just as cool.
So the next day, Kat goes to talk to Elliot, and Elliot tells her that up until this point, he's known how everything was supposed to go. I was told I was going to be a teacher. I was told, so I knew I was going to be here. Blah, blah, blah. I never got to do my own thing. So you know what? I'm going to go do what I want to do. I'm leaving town. I'm starting my own chapter. I'm becoming a villain.
Out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Suspicious. She doesn't understand at all. They're having dinner and they're talking and they're having a good time. They're cheersing. And the dog comes in and brings this ball. And this triggers a memory
They slammed
for
the ball on the
cats.
table. That's right.
with Jacob and this ball and how the dog ultimately came into their life. And through that, she kind of has this realization that Jacob could have chased after the dog. That the dog, sometimes he goes upon, blah, blah, blah. So is it possible that Jacob ran after the dog, ran into the pond? And so she goes and she sees like this, the book, and she remembers this thing about stars. I don't know. Cut to the White Witch.
God, you're going to make everybody in the chat mad now.
Cut to 1914? 1814? 1714?
Yeah, they're driving Model Ts, chasing white witches. Honk, honk, out of the way, good sir.
Cut to the 14th.
The Titanic, did you hear?
Let's go get ourselves a witch here, huh? I don't know who that guy is.
You're in the bayou. I'm in the big city. You're in the bayou.
Yeah. Cut to 1814. Okay, everybody, back off. We see the White Witch running back.
Would have made Hamilton, really.
Oh, yeah. And the camera then pans around, and we see that Kat is the White Witch. And she says, I'll be back for you, Jacob, before jumping into the pond. And that, my friends, was The Way Home, Season 1, Episode 10. Not all who wanted the premiere, the finale. We did, everybody.
Yeah, we did.
Brian, deck2hallmark.com for all those complaints, and we'll be back here in just a moment.
Oh, Deck the Hallmark.
Deck the Hallmark. Dang it. Welcome back, everybody. We're talking about The Way Home, the season finale. The finale. Let's talk about it. Ryan, I'm dying to hear what you think about this. It's been quite the journey.
Very much.
Let's see how you think it all kind of wrapped up here in season 1. What'd you think?
Yeah, an interesting thing happened. I pull the curtain back a little bit. Obviously, we all take notes while watching. I'm sure we all do it a little differently, but I try to obviously keep track of the big plot points and then kind of squish that into my hot take, into what I feel like is most noteworthy that I want to talk about. About 20 minutes in, I gave up on that because I just thought noteworthy after noteworthy after noteworthy thing was happening. But then, honestly, in that middle portion with about 15 minutes left, I don't know if it's because, Dan, almost to your point from the last episode on episode 9, it was like, have they given us too much? Because all of a sudden my expectations were lofty for what we were going to get. And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to be a little let down. But man, those last 7-8 minutes, all I had in my head was Bran with, dang, that's good TV. I mean, like,
man, that's good TV.
I mean, Dan, I was like, oh, holy moly, Dan called this dog in episode 1. We all completely forgot about the dog. Yeah, we all at least I completely forgot about the dog. And then from the moment where that baseball, not signed by Mark Paul Gosselaar, hits the table, to the flash to the 1814 card, to that the Jacob, I'll come back for you. I mean, I promise to anyone who can't see me on Philo right now, I am not being, I'm not doing it up. It was exhilarating television. Legitimately exhilarating television. I freaking loved it. Cannot wait for season 2. Got just enough of a morsel of the answers we wanted without, I feel like, giving us too much. Opened up a lot. I mean, if season 2 takes place in 1814, sign me up. I know it won't, but I would watch that show. This show was great. I loved it. Happy to be a part of it in a small way.
I am so excited for season 2. Because we have this 1814 thing, and her saying, I'll come back for you, Jacob, leaves at least me to believe that she has had contact with him. That's how I take it. I'll come back for you, Jacob, makes me feel like she saw something in 1914, 1814, whatever year it is, in the old roaring, that makes her think, hey, Jacob is here. And so I am very excited about next season. I'm nervous about next season. Like, now that we have so much tied up, it also kind of opens up a lot of questions like what are they going to do with this? So excited, nervous, but I felt like as far as a season goes, just bang up season. Loved it, and a wonderful finale to wrap things up.
Yeah, consider me more nervous about season 2 than anything. They tied a bow on 10 great episodes of television really well. They gave us far more answers than I thought they would, and that I think they probably should have given us here. My big issue, and this was good TV. I liked 9 more than 10. My big issue here is if we either have to all agree that Dell doesn't know about the time traveling pond, or this show is straining its credibility. Because if Dell knows about the time traveling pond and is still not bringing it up to her daughters that have clearly been utilizing it, showing up soaking wet at the house in the middle of winter, knowing songs, all of this other stuff, if she knows about it and is saying nothing at this point, then we have a show that's losing a little bit of integrity in its characters. If she doesn't know anything about it, I think that all of this still works and is above board. I just don't know how many more answers they can give us than they already gave us, save for we've got to find Jacob now. Yeah, winter that they're going to 1814. Is Jacob still going to be? He's clearly grown up based upon that little etching in the side of the journal, and I'm not sure as if I'm as invested in 1814 finding Jacob as I am in these characters and where they go from here moving forward. And I think that's a problem for me because the characters are really good. And I thought the conflation of past and present together and having some similar problems in both was great. And I love these characters, and I want to see what happens to them in the future just as much as I want to figure out what happens to Jacob. And this answering of just, they gave us a ton of answers, and then they basically said Jacob somewhere in 1814, and they also gave away who the White Witch was. They gave away how Jacob got there. They gave us all that information, which was so cool. And if there wasn't a season 2, then that would all be amazing. This would be like a triumph of television. I guess I'm worried that we're going to lose the plot a little bit here on the importance of the show being as much about finding your way home to being okay with yourself and being content with grief, that I think has made this show so incredibly powerful and strong to begin with. If this is just a wild goose chase for Jacob 200 or plus years ago, then I'm not sure if it can hold as well as it held. Having said that, very gripping, really good. This is more positive than it sounds. It's a really good 10 episode season of television. I definitely am in for more.
Yeah, I think there's still more questions out there than I think there's gonna be more to it than just, hey, we're going back to 1814.
Yeah, I mean, like Colton knowing Kat and present day Kat, like recognizing her. Like there's a lot of lingering.
How long did we think he knew her? Because
the thing is he's died. I don't know how much.
I don't buy that. I just buy he's dying and he sees her. Like he's, for the first time in her arms, he sees her and goes, "Oh, that's my baby girl."
And she's saying, "Dad, I'll
save you." She says "Dad" 1,000 times before he says anything.
Could go either way.
I don't think that there's, to me, that was pretty straightforward.
If you are dying and some woman is holding you and calling you dad, I could who knows what you're going to do there? You're dying. So
what I am desperate for is to make sure that we continue to make this a character study about people, specifically these 3 women, moving on and finding contentment and finding like safety and security and strength in themselves, even though terrible things have happened. Bad things happen. We still live. We still move forward. That's what makes this show go from good to great. And if this is just about going back in time and White Witch this and Jacob that, then I am not nearly as interested.
But we got Byron, who's on sabbatical just as the pond is freezing.
Yeah.
We got Elliot, who's deucing out early.
Now that means he's back on the villain train, baby. I was down to like a 5 or 6. I'm back up to a 9 now.
Let's go.
I'll save
it. Weird move.
I'll save it.
It's a weird move.
It is.
It's a weird move.
Yeah.
You finally got the girl who you've been in love with your whole life. You kiss. Sure, she's been doing some frustrating things, like believing she can change the past.
Since he's been 17 that he's standing with a blank page before him. Open up the dirty windows. Let the sun illuminate all that. It's unwritten. For the first time, he gets to choose for himself. I understood that. That was my favorite plot point in this thing. Is Brody comes around and is like, Brady comes around and is like, yeah, you can have her now. And he's like, wait a minute. Someone else is telling me what to do again. Not on my watch. I'm doing my own thing. I thought that was great. Big fan of that plot point.
Villain.
Let's
get to the feels. Ryan?
I mean, taking the last 6-7 minutes out of it, which maybe I shouldn't do, but I really enjoyed. It was a smaller moment, but Kat and Alice jumping into the pond together was really cool. And was I've talked about this a lot, I feel like, throughout the course of the season. I love these earned moments. I didn't expect when we started this journey 10 weeks ago or 11 with spring break involved. I didn't expect to get earned moments like those, and to me that's like that patented classic season finale moment. You didn't even know you wanted it, but man, it's just really cool that we got here. I do have a wait what about Kat and Alice's dynamic that I'll get to in a second, but that their journey, which I feel like for episode 1 and 2, I don't know if I particularly cared about, whereas now episode 10, I want to make a point to say that the way they weave their two stories together and them jumping into that pond together was really cool. And Dan, to your point, I agree. And Brand, you're saying the same thing too. Like, ultimately, I definitely don't want to lose that as we go forward, because it's become one of my more cherished elements of the show overall.
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, we were like, we need like a cover released by Alice of Baby One More Time, and we were like, oh, this would be wonderful. The cover that we ended up getting is Time After Time, recorded by the actor who plays Elliot.
Yeah, and it's great.
And it was wonderful. It was an amazing version. It was not the cover I expected to get out of this show, but I think it's the cover that we I'm happy we got it.
They should make an album. Legitimately,
we need the whole cast can apparently just
Time After Time.
These songs exist and are recorded. Like, just put it on Spotify. Like, I mean, they exist. Like, it would be a no-brainer.
It was great. Dana?
Yeah, that Time After Time cover was mine. What a way to end it. It was beautiful. Love the song. Apropos, well sung, good cover, all of that on board. That was
Evans Williams.
Evans Williams.
Evan. Just look
Dear
it up.
Evans
It's great.
Williams.
Guys, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back with the wait what's, maybe do a little sinking and swimming, see how things go for us here on Deck the Hallmark. If you're lost and you're looking, you will find me. Time after time. It's even better with a delay.
It is.
It feels like
it's rounds.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is Evan Williams, not Evans Williams.
That's what I get for
like the whiskey, Evan Williams.
Wow. Yeah. Do you think he's from that family?
I don't know. That'd be impressive if he was.
Let's do wait what. Let's go to you, Ryan. Anything in this episode when you go wait what?
Andy McDowell had no grounds to think that Colton was cheating just because there was some lady 30 feet away crying. Yeah. Like the disgust on Dell's face. Like, that's a leap. Much like what we do to get into the pond. That was an absolute leap.
Yeah.
And I get it. I'm not mad at the show for doing it. In the context of this segment, though, that was we shouldn't be holding a 20-year grudge because someone was crying at a funeral.
The only thing I can assume is that she also saw her in the truck with him at some point. But that, like, but we never get that. We never get that. So I don't know. Listen, maybe there's a woman out there that walks around cemeteries and just really like cries. Like, she comes upon a funeral and
town mourner.
Like, I wasn't invited, but like, I'm super bummed for you. I mourn with those who mourn, and that's kind of what I do. And so it is quite the leap. It is quite the leap.
Brand, Dan, do me a favor. if you guys
Yes.
ever have bad news to tell me, do not wait until the moment I'm super excited about playing a song at a concert to then deliver that bad news. Brody, no bro of mine. Listen, there's no easy way to deliver that news. I get it. Parents are getting divorced. It stinks all around for all parties involved. But Alice, who was miserable 10 episodes ago, is finally, she's had a tough month and a half, couple months here, going through time, is excited about playing a song, and then just guy kills the mood. I didn't like it. Didn't appreciate it.
Yeah, that was tough. Tough time for that. It's time for our chat. I'm going to play a song at a concert. Hey, we got to have a family talk first about
Speaking of,
mother and I permanently being separated forever.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Tough.
Not ideal. And to that point, honestly, perfect segue. Alice is a teenager. So maybe I'm thinking too much into this. Because like when I said my feels was her and Kat jumping into the pond together. And I get that I'm probably relaying this overly simplistic. But one thing that's bothered me about the show is Alice says, I have to say goodbye to Kat in 2000. You literally see Kat every day. They're treated as different characters. And I get it. The relationship she has with 2000 Kat is not the relationship, nor will it ever be the relationship she has with her mom. But they are the same person. You can say goodbye to 2000 Kat, but you could literally just say hello to her every day, which is kind of the dilemma the show is talking about. So I get it, but it bothered me a little. And then lastly, last one for me. And Dan, I think you touched on this a little bit ago. To your point, the question you asked at the top, does Del know about time travel or does she not? Because there's no going back from either. On top of that is Kat remembers her memories with Alice. Del sees Alice every time.
Yes.
Like the show, plausible deniability on the show's part, but at a certain point, especially with the song, and I believe one of you mentioned this as well. It's like, something has to jog that memory. And if it doesn't, we need Elliot or some exposition as to why her memories are not jogged.
Well, and also
I was going to talk about the song because the whole thing is one, a huge wait. What is just having the goal to do it, to know that I have this song that was taught to me by grandpa that I never met. And my grandma knows that. How do I know the chords? How do I so much of that was like a very bold choice there to me. While I understand that it would be wild for Del to know about time travel and not to have at least said something at this point, I just don't see a way around it. I don't see a way around, because to that point, that song is such, in my mind, would be such a trigger. Hearing that song that I haven't heard since my husband sang it, and potentially the last time I heard him sing it was with this girl that I've watched her grow up, so maybe memories are weird, but that would be such it. I find it hard to believe that it's not some sort of trigger to, oh my gosh, it's you, you're the one. She has to know. She has to know about time travel, because if not, that is just a ginormous wait what of her not being like, oh yeah.
I found the use of the song in that capacity unfortunate. The way they handled it was unfortunate. It made me wince, because if she knows about time travel and the puns, then it all should click in and flood back, and it's a very fun scene. And she doesn't.
But here's the interesting thing about it is the way that Annie McDowell plays it is her face throughout that scene. She's processing. She's processing a lot.
Yes.
But we're not brought into that process. Yeah. So she could be realizing it all in that moment, and she's trying to figure out what to do with it. But
in the next scene at the table, when the dog brings the ball in and she puts it on the table, she's like, this dog keeps going out to that pond. At that point, we are straining any credibility if Andy McDowell knows about the pond time travel and is not speaking up. What purpose, what motivation would she have to keep that a secret at this point? Everyone's dead. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows about the time travel. She knows they know she knows. Why would she not say anything at that point? This doesn't make any sense.
I'm at the point, Bran, I'm actually the complete antithesis of you, where like I actually think it's gonna hurt now if she does know about time travel. Like to what Dan just said, it's like I was with it up until even episode 9. But if you tell me now, after that, although at the same time, I agree, there have been numerous instances where it was like very obvious that it was a wink, wink, nod, nod that she does. It's a very, very fine line that they have crafted.
I don't disagree that it hurts the show. I think that if it comes out that she does, it will hurt. But I also don't see a way around it. It's like in my mind, it's like
I don't know if I disagree with that either. I think it's a lose-lose at this point in some ways.
It is because I think from an integrity standpoint, she can't know about the time travel.
I'm with you. I'm with you. It's like,
yeah. I mean, her kid and her grandkid are showing up soaking wet from the middle of the woods every day or every other day. The dog's back there all the time. They know stuff from the past. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is absurd at this point. Were you done? You got more, Ryan?
Oh, I'm good. I think we're on brand.
We good?
I'm good.
Okay. 2 real quick. 1, you know what, Way Home? You should have never told me that the pond freezes. I warned you. I told you to not say it unless something was going to happen, because you know what? We went back in time. That funeral takes place on February 17th. February 17th. And that pond has a couple of ice cubes in it. It is Canada. It is in February. That thing's a block of ice. I am sorry. I was fine thinking that the pond is magical and never freezes. We all were. No one would have questioned how you work the pond in the cold. No. Once that pond freezes, it's February 17th. It's not thawing all the way out. Sorry, warming. Not sorry. Big mistake. Can't believe you did it. I only have one more.
Oh, wow.
They're at the opening of the Retcom Wowzer. What's the name of that? The Roxy. Yeah, the Roxy. That's what it was. They're at the opening of this thing. And Brady, Alice's dad, slides into his seat like a cool breeze right before she comes on stage. What else does he have to do? What else does he have to do in a town that he literally is just visiting that he can't make sure he makes it on time for his daughters? What if he had gone on any earlier than that?
The only people he knows are in that room.
You have literally one thing on the agenda all day, bro. Be at your daughter's performance. Where were you? Where were you? Be there on time. Don't miss your kid's performance. Parenting 101. You got lucky.
Maybe he was there the whole time, but he hated the first performance.
He's like, I can't listen to a word.
I want to go to the bathroom. I can't with this.
See ya. Get out of here. That's all I got.
I thought you were about to say something, Ryan. I'm sorry.
Ryan, you're good. Was poised.
I was laying out. No, I was laying out.
That was my fault. Let's do the sink or swim. Everyone knows it by now. The clear. What are your thoughts?
Can't wait for Ride or Die next week.
Don't spoil it.
We're still working it out. As I said last week, this is now just my soapbox for Elliot being a supervillain. And although I thought we would have gotten it one way or another tonight, this episode, I'm glad we didn't. And I'm sure some people are going to say, well, he made the big declaration, and that's that. I just got a few factoids here. At one point, Brady, he's not the most intelligent guy in the world, but he's like, you've always spoken in riddles. You know who else speaks in riddles? The Riddler, famous supervillain, the Riddler. And then this is, but blink and you miss it. But like Dan, you said you're at a 9 out of 10. I'm at a 10 out of 10.
Let's go. Wow. Let's go.
He's going all in, pushing all of his chips on.
Guy. Let's go.
Elliot has a book of mysterious notes. They made sure to show us this book of mysterious notes. I did not pause on these notes. I don't know what this book said. I didn't have time. We had to watch 2 episodes.
He's checking things off, Ryan. As they happen, he's checking them.
He had more notes for time travel and these people's lives than I did for 10th grade biology.
That's right.
It's like ultimately, you don't have a book of notes unless you are nefarious. It's a cut and dry, a clear as mud situation. And ultimately, some people are going to be like, again, breaking up with Kat. That seems a little, the ship has sailed. I think the show which has been, all very, very smart. I think the show is like, let's just plant these seeds, see how we feel about it, see how the DTH guys react, and then make this decision in season 2. So ultimately, here we are. We saw the book of notes. The guy's got riddles. He's a super villain. Let's do it. Way home. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's it for me.
I'll be honest. I am going to make it my life's journey to get the showrunners on this show, and then soon, because we're now a season in. We need to get all these questions out there
for sure,
and also, if for nothing else, plant some seats. I'm sure they have ideas.
Everybody
of where
out
they
there start tagging us
we.
on the IG, on everything Instagram. Be like, why aren't you on a Hallmark podcast yet?
I don't know who the showrunner is. I have no idea. I have no idea. What's the rock? My swim. What's the Roxy now? Is the Roxy a music venue now? What?
It used to be a movie.
It used to be a movie theater. What is it?
I think it's where I'd like perform spoken word. I think it's like a local community theater still.
Okay.
It's just a different type of theater, I think.
So what, but okay. Do they still show any movies? It was just weird that this movie theater closes down and they reopen with a talent show. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this place is. What is this place? That's all.
It's like when Circuit City closes and becomes a PC Richard and Son. Like, I think we just gave it a fresh coat of paint,
What a reference.
Fair.
I don't know if it's for everybody, but it was for me. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I got one. And I know that I've been big on the rules of time travel, and I'm happy that they're following them, but I have a fun what if for you. What if Alice gets the letter from under the sink, Adele's sink, and she just rips it up and throws it in the trash can? What happens then? What happens?
You can't change the future.
But what happens if she does that? Everyone's alive, right?
I would have liked, yeah.
Everyone is alive, because if she rips that up, they never go back, which means they never find the pond, which means they never go back and plant the bike.
This would be a question for the showrunners.
And they never go back and make the wreck happen.
But
everybody's alive.
But you're changing
That's
the
right.
future.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
You're changing the past by changing the future.
You can't do it. You're 100% right. I'm just saying, isn't that a fascinating what if?
Yes.
She rips that letter up instead of sends it, none of this goes in motion. And at the time that she's there, that would be a fascinating experience.
But it's the whole thing of the pond takes you where you need to go to do the things that need to be done.
That's right.
For things to happen the way they are supposed to happen.
Go ahead.
Maybe the letter and Alice having to send it. Maybe that was a test from good old supervillain Elliot, and if she didn't do it, worse. I'm just telling you. I'm just seeing it. I'm locked in right now.
I love it. I love it.
I know
Elliot for villain. I love it.
I know Elliot. Elliot has said that he can't time travel, but that's the only source we have on that issue.
He's the only guy that knows both. He's the only guy that
he says he is. He says he's tried, but again, that's like it's like a demon telling you something. It's like, am I gonna believe you?
And the last time you talked to a demon, they didn't tell you the truth. They weren't straight with you.
They lied 3 ways to sundown.
Demons and scot-free, they're not good.
No, not good. And you get Cart involved, and it's a party.
That's
the kind you want to be at.
What a treatrous trio, right there.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, what is going
Different
on
type
here?
of Trinity. It's time for Wrestle to the Ground. Ryan, WrestleMania is still coming up. I know we've been talking about it for what seems like hours.
God, have we?
What are we wrestling on the ground right now?
Yeah, ultimately, I do like that the timing worked out this way. And I know we touched on this at the top of episode 9, but yeah, WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday this coming weekend on Peacock in the US and WWE Network everywhere else. A lot to be excited about. I won't run down the whole card, but you got Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, John Cena, which may be a favorite of many in here, challenging Austin Theory. Logan
Austin
Paul, Brand's
Theory.
favorite.
His name is Austin Theory?
Yeah, I mean that was his government name.
Is Logan Paul getting some influential kids to sign up for some sort of crypto scam, or is
he he might be getting a whooping from Seth freaking Rollins, which I'm sure is a name Dan will like.
Seth freaking Rollins, no doubt.
And just a lot more to look forward to. The grandest stage of them all, and it's going to be a fun time. So I like that the timing worked out this way. And forget the way home. Thanks for all of you coming on this journey with me with what's it called? Wrestle 'em to the Ground. Russell to the
Yes.
ground.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What
And
a
shout out to Dennis Haskins, who we appreciate immensely for. He did that live every week. People don't know
every
that.
week he did
Yeah.
it live.
He
That's
comes in
true.
here and he does it. He does it, and
It's
it's
crazy. The
beautiful.
consistency is unbelievable.
Just as this series of a season has come to a close, a new one has
You got
begun.
it. You got it.
Ride season 1 premiered. Ride season 2 coming out this Sunday.
Season 1, episode 2.
1 and
Season 2 will not be out till sometime.
We don't know.
In the future.
We don't know. Season 1, episode 2, Sunday. Get philo.tv/DTH. Watch Ride 1 and 2, and then join us next Wednesday where we're going to do this thing, a double feature Wednesday. Don't get used to it. It's not going to be a normal thing, just the way things worked out. Can't wait to be back next Wednesday doing a little thing called Ride Up. Until then, we first wish you a Merry Christmas. Yeah, boy.
Deck the Hallmarks of Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.